Chelsea Sherrod here with Sammy P, still recovering from an explosive day in the NFL on Tuesday. Massive moves were made. Sammy was down in his cave to punch some numbers for us and stay up to date on the line movement around the league. I'm glad he came out from the cave. Yeah. Lots to cover as we talk NFL futures. Sammy, Aaron Rodgers is staying in Green Bay in a reportedly cap-friendly deal. How has his decision affected the Packers' Super Bowl title odds?
They've been essentially cut at half everywhere you look. So they were 14-1 in Vegas at the Superbook. After he ends up signing that massive contract, they knocked him down to 7-1. So if a book had 20, they likely went down to 10. They had 18, they're down to 9. And that's because, as we talked about a couple weeks ago, teams like the Packers and the Denver Broncos, the books had them at sort of a halfway number. Like, they weren't going to go too high in case Rodgers either stayed in Green Bay or got traded to Denver or whatever. But books don't want to be liable on teams at bad numbers. They didn't want to move the Packers to 40-1, even though I was told they could have potentially been 100-1 if Rodgers and Davante Adams were gone. But that's what happened. The Green Bay Packers now is low as 7-1 to win the Super Bowl.
Okay, and Rodgers and Davante Adams back together again. Okay, Rodgers MVP stock, could he repeat as league MVP? What are the books saying?
A lot of people might not like him, and they might not like his politics, but I mean, he's clearly still got it at his age, and now potentially 4 more years in Green Bay left, depending on how that shakes out down the stretch. Of course, he's a contender, and I think his chances get even better with Tom Brady likely out of the way. Now, there are some rumors that maybe Brady comes back, but when you think about quarterbacks to win the MVP, it's Rodgers, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and then here's a guy to pay attention to, Justin Herbert for the LA Chargers. Those would be the top 4 that I would want to bet. Yeah, of course he can win the award.
Okay, we'll see if he can do it. There was also lots of buzz around the league that Rodgers could have ended up in Denver if he decided not to return to Green Bay, but once he announced his return, the Broncos seemingly pivoted to Russell Wilson, who they got in a monster trade with Seattle. What were the odds makers' immediate reactions to this trade?
Well, it's funny. After Rodgers signed with Green Bay, the Broncos went up to 40-1 because the books were like, uh-oh, who are they going to get now? Yeah. Then they trade for Russell Wilson, and the books go back down. They have the 5th best odds to win the Super Bowl, as low as 11-1 at PointsBet. So 100 wins you 1,100. Just for some contextual purpose, last offseason, the Denver Broncos were 70-1. To win the Super Bowl. So coming into this season, the books knew they had to get somebody because Chelsea, it's a top 5 roster and one of the worst quarterback rooms with Bridgewater and Locke. But now that they have Russell Wilson, anywhere from 11 to 14-1 to win the whole thing.
Absolutely. Okay, so what happens to Seattle in this situation? They received Drew Lock, like you just said, Noah Fant, Shelby Harris, 2 first-round draft picks, 2 second-rounders, and a 5th-rounder. How did their title odds change from before the trade to now? Is that
it's still going, actually, 200-1.
Oh, okay.
So if you bet $100 on Seattle, don't do it.
Yes.
You'll win $20,000 if they win the Super Bowl. I mean, the end of an era, really, if you think about it. I mean, Russell Wilson, Marshawn Lynch, they come onto the scene in the early 2010s. They were contenders for about a decade straight, but with Russell Wilson gone, they went from 40-1 to as high as 200-1.
Now, the Patriots are looking at a stacked AFC with Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Derek Carr. We can roll them all off.
Josh Allen. How did you forget Josh Allen?
Josh Allen, of course. Okay, we will keep our eyes out for that next season. Thanks, Sammy.
Thank you.